Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is Monday morning, April 6th. The days are starting to run together for many of us as we continue in what is really uncharted territory in most of our lives. Most of us have still never been through anything like this, and it's kind of going to be more difficult, I think, before it gets better. That's my personal opinion. And but I really want to thank everybody for the attention you've paid to our course, to the effort you've put in. I am trying my best to match that effort. My life has changed a little bit as I was wondering, because I said, I do a lot of remote work, I do a lot of online work, and yet the reality of all my work life having come online rather than a good portion of it being on a campus has really changed. And what it's done for me is actually I've ended up working more hours to try to do the same things. It's very interesting to me, and I'm doing my best to keep up with it. Last week I managed to get the discussions graded, I think, mostly by Wednesday, and the assignments by Thursday. That's a little behind what we try to do. I'm hopeful I can beat that, but let's see. I don't know. I'm just being straightforward with everyone. Expect the discussions to be graded by the end of the day tomorrow, first thing Wednesday morning. Assignments graded by the end of the day Thursday, midday hopefully. All right, that's what we can do. I think, too, you can also expect, particularly in the discussion, some of the feedback may be coming in a little bit shorter, because after 4 weeks we kind of know what our expectations are of each other, so it just may come in as reminders and directions. I will use the rubric heavily, as you've discovered. If I don't lay something out directly in the comments, go to the rubric and see where the score came from, and that will help you quite a bit. Okay, let's quickly review last week and go into this week's material, just so you have a preview of what's coming and where we've been. Last week was very interesting, particularly in the discussion. We looked at a very interesting company, Starbucks. One thing that I think struck me was the comments that people were making about core competency and core values. And they're very, very related, but don't confuse the two. They are quite different. Very related, but quite different. Core values guide what your entire organization does. Core competency defines what you do well, and something that you would probably want to repeat. I don't think you can, my opinion again, I don't think you can develop core competency without having developed core values first. Because if the two diverge, then you've got a recipe for organizational disaster. But the thing I really want people to remember is there's a difference between value and values. Values form your behavior. Value is a result of your actions. Okay, these are things I think are important, and I've spent an awful lot of time working with organizations over the last 25, 30 years in that real role, understanding that people sometimes mix the two and don't really get the results they want, and they don't get the results they need, and they wonder why people don't stay on the same page, and why does my organization diverge, and why is my organization asked in sometimes dysfunctional ways. Many times it does come back to that whole idea of values, direction, vision, and those are things to remember. Okay, moving on. This week we're going to talk about the one thing that's constant, as many philosophers and everything have said. The one thing that's constant is change, right? And we're seeing this play out around us all the time, every day now. Everything is different. Everything is different by the minute, it seems. But on a very large level, you'll notice that what we're going to talk about is organizational change. Organizational change basically takes one of two main routes, and we refer to them in the materials. Evolutionary, that takes place over a long time. We don't really see it happening. It just happens, so to speak. And then revolutionary. An event happens, a leader happens, something happens, and suddenly everything's different. All right? And revolutionary change can be just absolutely fantastic for an organization. It can be disastrous. Evolutionary change can be the same, but sometimes we don't recognize what's happening to us. And this is really the distinction I think you need to look for in the week's material. And particularly as we go into the discussion about a company that used to be dominant and now it's just about gone. And I'm referring to Sears. Sears was a retail giant, right? Once it was the largest retailer in the world. It's struggling to survive. In many cases, it's, for all practical purposes, dead. What happened? Did it happen as a revolutionary change? Did it happen as an evolutionary change? Did it happen as a combination of both? Could have been foreseen? Could have been remedied? Could we have changed direction? These are things you need to think about as you go through. And I really would like people, again, to keep it in the big picture. Now, I think retail is something that we all have experience with, either as customers or many of us have worked in it. Everybody seems to have spent a little time in there at one point, and maybe a summer job or something like that. Maybe some of you it has been your career at various levels. But it's really easy to understand the physical process of selling things to consumers. And that's why I think it's something where we can really look at this and make some real connections to the behavior that we expect of a business or that we expect of ourselves as workers in a business. It's really an interesting case. So, again, my admonition to most people: keep it up in the big picture. Take a look at it from a macro point of view. It's something I think that you'll find interesting. All right. I do appreciate, again, the effort people have been in putting in the discussion board, the way people are now asking each other questions. That's so important, all right? I often have said that the discussion board is where the real learning in this course comes in. And what's really great about it is you've noticed you don't have to be right or wrong, right? What I really look for is for thought, people who think about their answer. Don't limit yourself. Let that question direct you, but don't limit yourself to one train of thought or one thing that maybe you think is the right answer. Because in most cases, the way we've structured it, there are no right answers. Instruction in through discussion, I think, is one of the most powerful things we have to do in online work. And what's great about it is everyone participates. There's nobody sitting in the back row being quiet. I know that's a cliche, but it's so true. You have to participate. You have to be part of it. And I think most people enjoy being part of the community. So, once again, I do try to get it to everybody. If I don't, it's just because my attention span is being pulled in 400 directions, as I know yours is. So many people have contacted me with a circumstance that's either ongoing or momentary, related to the current conditions of the world. Please continue to do that. We'll work with you, and I will do everything I have available to me to accommodate reasonable requests, and everyone has been more than reasonable. Nobody's abused it, and I just, I don't expect that anybody would, but I really feel great about being able to say that. Everybody has done their job here, and I really appreciate what we're doing. Okay, so thank you for your attention again. Please, if you do have any questions, get to me, and let's have another productive week. Thank you very much.